Welcome back to Car Chats, episode 128. Tonight we're going live with KerbThaKid. I'm your man Hanley from On the Line with. Episode sponsored by Diamonds Rising. Shirt by S. The social media project. Pendant from Jack Hellington from his Sunny Side Up project. What's up, Nick LaRoe? TGIF tomorrow. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm fantastic, man.
How's the West Coast treating you?
Fantastic, man. As always, you know,
Good
I've been out here for 3 years now.
Oh, so you're new to the West Coast?
Kind of. I mean, like, I grew up in like Fernie, if you know where that is, which is like right on the border of like BC and Alberta. So
Oh,
it's like kind of West Coast, but like still like a 10-hour drive away.
And what made you? Well, before we get into that, why don't you just give an introduction of who you are and stuff like that, so people who watch after get familiar and they know who I was talking to. So
Yeah.
just let them know who you are, what you do, and where you're at again.
What's up, everyone? My name's KerbThaKid. I'm a producer based out of Vancouver, BC. I produce mostly hip hop, but almost anything. And I also record, engineer, mix, master. I do it all. I'm the one-man band.
The jack of all trades.
Oh yeah, man.
And how long have you been making beats for?
Well, I first got like a copy of FL Studio when I was like maybe 11 or 12.
Craft version?
Yeah. Of course. I think it's like everybody's like first start with making beats is like, you know, especially these days, because it's just so accessible. It's just like a cracked version of FL, and it was like at this time it was like FL8,
Yeah.
and right now it's FL20, right?
It was like hand in hand with Cool Edit Pro when you like when you use that version. Like
Yeah.
I'm all too familiar with it.
But like, you know, prior to that, like I was always super like into like playing piano, playing drums. I was the only class that I liked to go to as a kid was music class. You know, I was definitely a music nerd. But I don't know, man. I think because, you know, growing up, we didn't have a lot of money and we just didn't have many options as to like especially in a small town as to like where I want to, you know, focus on a music career or focus on doing something musically. I think like the only thing we had was a laptop. Didn't even have internet, so I went to the library, like I like downloaded the FL Studio on like their Wi-Fi, cracked it and everything, and yeah, I'll just sit there and play for hours, like just make absolute garbage nonsense for like ever, you know, and it feels like forever ago, but really it's just like it was just like those small things that just got me almost addicted to it, you know.
The trials and tribulations of trial and error of it all. That
Yeah.
Like, you hear it and you're like, it could be better, so you keep going off and off and off and off, and you just until you feel like it's right, and then finally something hits.
Yeah,
for
man.
a while. My bad. Go ahead.
No, it's like I don't know. I think it was one of the few things in my life that I did have that I've always just stayed consistent with, you know, and music's like that, especially for like musicians and like producers and rappers, singers, it's like once you find that that's your thing, or if it's anything, once you find that that's your thing, like it's almost like a drug for me. Like I get to wake up every day and I like, I get to go to the computer and make beats, or I can go, you know, play the piano or like do something else, right? And if as long as it's music, I'm happy, you know.
And what took you to like the hip hop route? Was it just a genre you were like accustomed to? You knew already. You followed like by being a listener, or was it just you found it was something easier for you on like getting to understand?
Actually, like I would say like when I started making music, it was more like house music and like electronic. You know, I started in the days of like Dead Mouse was really big at the time. Then Skrillex would just popped off at that point. So it's like 11 and 12. It's like, oh, I want to make music like that, you know. and that's kind of like what got me to the introduction into music, or like making music, was just like making really long intros and like, you know, just soundscapes that were huge and beautiful, and almost being like the vocalist with, you know, the computer in a sense, you know. And I think like as time went on, like I ended up moving to Calgary, and I lived there for like 2 or 3 years. And I met a lot of people, you know, while I was there. And I met a lot of people who like, you know, who rapped. And, you know, we were young, 14, 15, 16. And they're like, yo, why don't you make beats, you know? And I would even like rap a little bit by myself. You know, we'd go to a party and I'd like spit a couple rhymes, but you know, I was never that good.
I feel like a lot of beat makers have attempted to rap here and there too, because they hear their own beats sometimes and they're like, man, I wish I could kill this.
Yeah, totally, man. You know, and I'll be like,
You
yeah,
get that
like, you know,
a lot? Like when you make a beat, you're like, fuck, I wish I could rap on this.
sometimes I write. Sometimes I write to
Well,
it,
that's
and
cool, bro.
sometimes recorded stuff, but no one's ever going to hear it
And,
because I'm not
I
confident.
mean, you could also use that like whole like you write and stuff and make like reference tracks for people, you know, so that way you kind of like can potentially get a writing credit.
Yeah, totally, man.
You
You
know,
know,
if you felt like adding a little different aspect to like the whole, because I know a lot of producers will send out beats and then tell people an idea vocally, not like not um, like have a reference track per se. Like a lot of people do. Like ghostwriters will record something and send it to them and be like, "This is how you should try and make it sound." And, you know, hear the lyrics. But producers, I feel like, would probably give that idea a lot more of a backing than like a rapper getting ghost written for, because it kind of takes away from their pride sometimes. But like I feel like if a producer's like, it would sound good if you could try it like this, and then they use your idea and maybe they like some of the words, I mean, well, you're
yeah,
granted a writer's credit then.
yeah, 100%, man. I think like I like, especially like when guys come, we'll hang out and we'll just like sit in the studio here, and I'll make a beat from scratch. And, you know, if they're struggling, a lot of times I'll just be like, I'll like hum a melody or like a flow or something like that. Cause I can, like, after making hundreds and hundreds of songs, you know, I kind of know like what would sound good on certain things,
Oh,
you know, obviously artists at the end of the day, but like, I'll be like humming a melody to, oh, you should go like that. Or, you know, have my Rick Rubin moment of being like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's go and record that, you know?
mm-hmm. And so, do you feel like you found a lot of success as a producer thus far? Like, have you, like, name wise? I know, like, I've like some of the names that we're gonna play after, like, I'm familiar with. So, like, and they don't just work with anybody. So that says a lot in its own right. But like, do you feel like personally you've gotten a lot more success than you think like you would have when you first started?
Oh, for sure, man. And I mean, like, it's obviously like every day is a new growth, and a new heights to be reached, you know. And I think, like, you know, success, quote unquote, like, I look 3 years ago, 3 years ago, I was having a really rough time in life. And I'd still was still doing music, but I was like at the same time kind of just floating through life, not knowing what I should do with life,
Yeah,
you know. And uh and and, and at the time, like, I was living in Cranbrook, this other city in BC,
I'm
quite far from.
familiar with Cranbrook.
What's that? Sorry.
I'm familiar with Cranbrook.
Yeah,
Cranbrook, sorry. Not like completely, but like I've had the name tossed around a few times.
yeah. I mean, it's just a small city, right? And you know, and I was just kind of like just recording a couple locals, not really knowing sure where my music's going, not really knowing what to do, you know. And you know, I just kind of decided it was like, either I just stay here and hopefully something will catch on, or, you know, I make the action to further myself as in my career, further myself in my music and my music production, and also further myself mentally, you know. And I just kind of like sold everything I had and came out to Vancouver. I came out with like a garbage bag basically of stuff. And it's been great, you know. And I see like every person that I meet, you know, everybody's such solid people, man. And like, and being able to work with people that I actually look up to, and with like a lot of very talented artists is a blessing, you know.
Who are some of the people that you look up to that you work with? Because like a lot of the people tend to shy away from giving that kind of like flowers and things to people, but I find that very genuine of you. So I'm interested to know, like.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, you know, there's lots of people, right? Obviously, you know, like, you know, I've worked with Mo Dirt a couple times now, and you know,
Dirt, man.
yeah, he's a solid dude, and he's always been, you know, he's always been out for like helping each other as like artists. You know what I mean? It's not just like a one-way street, like producer buys the beat and that's it. You know, we help each other grow. You know, I'm doing a project right now with a friend, Hard Body Teams out here in Vancouver, and he's like insane when it comes to just lyricist, and just has so much power and girth in his voice that it's just like such a good. You know, I look up to his music and to the music we're doing together. You know, and I mean, like, even like looking at the top guys in the city here in Vancouver right now, you know, like Big Merc and Junk, and seeing guys like that are really doing really well with their careers, and it's very inspiring, you know.
Sure.
And but at the end of the day, it's, you know, I try not to focus too much on like other people, other than like to bring support,
Yeah.
more or less to just like focus on what am I going to do to further myself as a musician, as a producer, and as a like a creative, you know.
So like when you speak on like, because everyone has a different like perspective on who like the top guys are in their region or their province, whatever you want to put it as. But like, who do you consider like the top guys that right now currently, other than Junk and Merc, obviously, because that's well established. But who else would you consider? Yeah, of course, Bully Zone's that snack all day. I know that.
Yeah, man, dude, that's a hard one to put, because I like there's
That's why I
so
asked it.
many like close friends that are like, oh, you left me out of the conversation, and like, and I see like so many like big things, especially in the West Coast in Vancouver right now. There's a huge community being like driven right now, like
Vancouver has been working hard to get
my boy Soul just mentioned Truth the Rapper. He's insane. He's actually dope as hell.
I haven't. You know what? I'm glad that you commented that, Soul, because like I'm very like, I'm sure Curb can tell you that I'm always looking for people to like get tapped in with. So like, I'll definitely tap in with him and try to get him on the show. If you're an artist, you could hit me up too. You already know. But yeah, that sounds dope. What makes him? What differentiates Truth the Rapper from like, say, let's just say Merc? Because if you can
both
on that list, there's got to be something.
They're both dope, heavy lyricists. Truth is definitely more on a spiritual level.
Okay.
You know, especially with the music that I've worked on with him, and with the music that I've heard from him. You know, but not to say that Merc isn't. You know, they're both powerhouses in their own right.
Yeah,
you know,
very versatile. He could adapt to different things.
The homie that commented on that Soul, he's also like super dope. All part of that crew as well, and he just released an album. I was at his album release party, and it was just puts on an amazing show, and like actually has like, you know, he's got one song called I Got Soul, and it's just like you can feel it, especially when I see him perform it. I can feel that soul, you know.
Well, Soul, hit me up, bro. Let's get an interview locked in. But yeah, bro. So, yeah, Proud of West is definitely one of those guys too. There's a few out there, man. There's tons, and like Mr. ESQ or Mr. S, however anybody pronounces it. I've heard multiple ways. Details, like their whole like island royalty movement, and like the VI Kings tour has been just crazy successful, it seems, man.
Yeah, man. Like the whole island crew is definitely pushing boundaries right now, you know, and they're all very like, they're all very talented, but they're also like what from what I see, like very business oriented and all working together as a team, you know, and that's something I definitely take, you know, no, you know, just professionalism and the business oriented on top of being like top tier lyricist as well,
Because
you know.
you need to know how to sell yourself as your brand, bro. Because like you're a brand, and like your whole face, your face is the brand. Yeah, Bully Zone. I was just gonna say confidential as well.
Mm-hmm. Totally, man.
Yeah.
And I can't like stop a question like that without mentioning like my boy.
Obi D2, man, and Deshaun Jackson as well.
Yeah, man, he's dope too. Actually, I
I'm
watched him
crazy.
Snack the Ripper, you know, like a week ago, but just like as soon as he got on stage, you know, he like brought the whole crowd in, you know.
Yeah, I could see like his energy is like top notch, man. Just like humor wise, just like on the internet wise, his humor is fucking top tier, and like his bars, like you could tell that he's actually been through the shit he says, because like there's a certain type of like emotion in his voice whenever he's speaking on things. So yeah, shout out to him. And he made a dope song about pets. That shit was funny as hell.
That's dope.
But have you worked with Deshaun?
Um, no, but we're trying. I'm trying to be in the works with him right now. You know, we're moving back beats right now, but you know, as rappers can go, you know, so sometimes a little picky,
Yeah.
right? So
Definitely, that definitely happens a lot. You find that like you'll send a beat to someone, they'll like it, but they'll feel like they want something changed, and then you'll send it and they'll want to change somewhere else. Do you get that a lot, or are they usually happy with the way it's already?
well, a lot of times like guys will just hit me up and be like, hey, I want a custom just like this. I can usually do a pretty good job of making it its own beat, but at the same time kind of having like the same like flair and the same similar BPM vibe and melody, you know what I mean? Because really it's like the way I look at beats now and music now, it's like because knowing uh, music theory and knowing like a baseline of music theory and stuff like that, you know, as long as it follows like the same key and it follows like the same BPM, I can get a similar vibe, you know. But sometimes people will send stuff back, but sometimes people will be like, it's, you know, we can work at this, right?
Word. And so I've been asking this question to a lot of guests lately, but before it was music, like you said in school and stuff, it was your like favorite class to go to. But like before you thought about picking up music and like making it a hobby, and then now cashing in on it as much as you can. What did you want to be when you were growing up? What did Curb the Kid want to be?
I'd be hard pressed to say anything other than like something involved with music.
Fair enough.
I,
So
I remember like being like 6 years old, you know, just being like listening to music and be like, I love this, you
yeah,
know. But also like growing up, I was an avid skateboarder, you know, and we grew up in the Rockies, right? So we snowboarded, played a lot of hockey, you know, all the regular, you know, Canadian things that people do. Um, I also like I grew up in a town that's like kind of near a coal mine, so if there was no like introduction to music, if there was no introduction to anything other than anything artistic, I'm sure at some point I would have ended up working at a coal mine, which I did for tentatively for about like 10 or 2 years. But you know, it kind of sucked my soul, and it was one of those few things that was like, man, I just got to get out of here, and I got to like continue to curb the minor. I
was it
gotta
like
continue.
the hard work that sucked your soul out of it, or like?
Yeah, yeah, man. I don't know. It was just and huge respect to anybody that does work at coal mine. You know, I we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, and then didn't get home till 8 p.m. And it was just like working like it was an open pit. It wasn't underground, but you know, cleaning mine trucks, doing fire watch, helping in any way I can. And I was definitely on the lower pay grade of the mine workers, you know. So it was one of those things that kind of like took me away from the music, and in that sense, it definitely sucked my soul, you know.
Yeah, I know how a job could just when especially when you're pursuing it like as hard as I was too, like a decade ago. Like when I had my job that I was living decent off of, you know, like it just like your mind goes towards like now you have to actually live. Like so, like you need to work as hard as you can if there's no cash coming in from the music as much as you love it, and then like
Hmm.
once once the job ended and whatever happened because the whole story behind it I won't get into it, but like it's just like I went back to the music, but like the job had taken so much soul out of me that I like lost my passion for it too, so I kind of just like dropped it all. But thankfully I got it back, so like I'm back in the studio now, so thankfully I got it back.
Just it, man. You know, like it's like I feel like now that I'm a little bit older and, you know, kind of past that being a young man, kid stage, you know, because I made a lot of mistakes as when I was young, and
As we all do,
as
but
we
like
all do, right? And somebody told me it's like the more mistakes that you make when you're younger, like the wiser you'll be, you know? So I tried to make as many mistakes so I could just be wise when I'm older, you know?
I just started making mistakes on purpose and shit. I knew it was wrong, but I did it anyway.
um,
Yes, we will.
but I mean, you know, moving forward, right? Like, so I was in Cranbrook, and this was after I worked at the mine, and I came out to Vancouver. I ended up actually I went to music production college for a year. Um, Actually closed down, but no, I learned so much, and being there in college, I met so many good people and good like artists where it kind of like just branched out from there. Where I realized like how big the scene, especially in Vancouver, it's like it's a big city, right? And it's just like I think a lot of times we can tend to focus on like the big 10 that are coming out of the city, right? But the reality is it's like especially when I started going to like the underground spots or going to school and realizing, oh, there's so many good and talented artists here that I can learn from, and I can like,
Yeah.
you know, get better at my production with as well, you
That's
know.
why I hated like I understand why they're made, but the reason why I don't like listing like top artists in the city is because like they could have like a great year and the next year just kind of slow down and not as great as the last one. So like I don't understand how they can maintain a spot and like you know like numbers, sure, maybe numbers. If people want to go off numbers and shit, that's fine. But like I felt like lists were always made off like skill and consistency and shit like that. So like there's so many artists in like a place like Vancouver. Like there's like always somebody who's doing something different and more unique, or somebody who's doing something consistently that's been great. Like I don't know. That's why I just never really been a fan of lists. I just like watching what's coming out and what's happening. That's why I dig as deep as I can to find people that like I'm like who's this like.
Yeah, and me too, dude. Like it's funny when you think of like a city. It's like it's especially if you're like really into hip hop and like rap. It's like, oh, who's the top five from this city? It's like who's like the most underrated?
Yeah.
You know, who are people not talking about?
See, that's
That's
a better way of listing people. Like, who's the top five underrated? Who's the top five, like, top five? Like,
yeah.
but even
And
it's just
you,
like,
oh,
then
sorry.
then it might feel like to the people who are top five underrated, like it's kind of like a slight hit at like where they're at. And it's like, no, it's not that. Like, if you're being considered underrated, that means people actually are listening to you, but they don't speak about you enough. That's
Mm-hmm.
where I think people misconstrue words, and they're like if they're not open to like constructive criticism, they take underrated as an insult when really it's a lot. It's farthest from that, but that's me.
Yeah, man, like the complete opposite actually. Like so, if I'm being underrated, you know, that means not enough have been just like you said, like not enough people have been checking me out to
Or
really
there's
notice it.
or there's a lot of envious people who just don't want to show you the love you deserve.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
find that happens a lot. I find that happens in every major city or even town. Like if there's like the amount of artists and shit that are in every country these days is like no matter what, there's always going to be someone who probably you never even met that feels like you're their main competition. And I never understood that. I'm like, bro, I've never even met you. Like, chances are I haven't heard you. Like, I don't know why you don't like me that much. Like,
Dude, 100%, man. I mean, like, yeah, and it's so funny. Like, there's like little beefs between people that have never spoke, and it's like I operate at the level of like, you know, if you're solid to me, I'll be solid to you, and we can help each other grow. Especially, you know, being at this level, you know, we're all here to help each other, and we're all here to grow with each other. You know, I'm not no better than the next guy, and I'm not any worse than the next guy. You know, it's just that, you know, and especially because, you know, music is such a subjective thing, and I believe, like, because of things like Instagram, because of things like numbers on Spotify, we tend to look at, oh, if you have more followers, then you must be better,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's
numbers have been the most misguided system of all social media. Like, if
Mhm.
someone had just numbers like that, or like follower counts or whatever, likes and all that shit, like the internet would probably be a much more unified space than it is now. Like, everybody's like so focused on fucking numbers. It's just like I've heard better music from people with like 100 listens on their shit than someone with like 100 million. I'm like, and that's me being honest. Like, through the people I met doing these interviews, and like even my other series that I was doing, bro, there's so much, like, again, underrated, unspoken on talent that, like, not only Canada has, but like in states people sleep on. Like, I'm telling you, I've had so many dope artists I've met in the last like year that coming out of Vermont. It's unbelievable. That's like a sleeper state to me, bro. If you dive deep enough into that state, bro, I'm telling you, you will find some crazy dope artists. And I don't know if he's still in here right now. No, he's not. But Nick LaRoe, he goes by Sneaks. He's from Vermont. He's been in it like I think 2, maybe 3 decades. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. I don't want to make him feel old. But he's been in it for a while, and like he's watched like the OG artists from Vermont to like the new artists coming up now, and like he's like me and like just listens for shit, bro. It's such a sleeper state, man. Like, I'm gonna send you some links later, and like the shit you hear, you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Oh, man.
Like, yeah, definitely. So shout out, like, people I'm speaking about are like Street Religion. That's like a label. It's like Shorty Bang. I've done an interview with Young Breeze. I've done an interview with June Fargo. Uh, come on, Cassadon. Um, Millie. No, YM. Sorry. Um, I know I'm missing a few. Raw Def, D French. They're the whole collective, bro. They're amazing. All of them make different style music with maybe some similar substance in like terms of like uh, I lost my wording. I'm trying to think of. Anyway, similar substance, but not really. It's like, they all come from the same kind of background, but they portray it different. But enough about them. I just wanted to say, shout out Vermont for being a sleeper state. Oh, my dog FFD Ross and Joint Manipulation. Those guys are crazy, bro. Those are like some old school rappers that bring it on new shit. Oh fuck, I love it so much.
That's what I love. Like, just old school, like, gritty.
Yeah, raw, like Immortal Technique sounding beat shit, like all that. Yeah.
And when I like go back to like when I started making boom bap or like hip hop, it was boom bap, and it was, you know, chopping up breaks, chopping up samples, you know, making my own like piano lines and stuff like that. Like, that's what's in my soul the most, I think.
My
You know,
favorite beats still to this day are those like old, like new, like East Coast sounding boom bap beats, but with like the vocal samples for like the hooks for the choruses and shit. Like, oh, I love that shit, bro. I just got a dope one. I just got a couple dope ones from uh, L Prime from Soul Vibe Syndicate. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I think the name definitely rings a bell for sure.
Well, he made some dope beats, and he sent me a couple dope beats Nina Simone's vocal samples chopped up in it, and I've been trying to find someone to make those beats for like the last year and a half, and he did it finally in a way I was like, oh my god.
Well, feel free to definitely. So I'm getting a call from my girl here.
Sorry, my dude. Your lady will have her ways.
I'm surprised she's not on here right now.
She's gonna come on and be like, "This is why you're dodging my call."
This is why the cats haven't eaten.
All right. Well, because I was talking about those artists so much, I'm gonna do a favor for the listeners. I'm gonna play "Drip" by Mo Dirt and
Oh.
Is it Amicella?
Amy Shella.
Oh, I'm so bad with like pronouncing. I see it, I know how to spell it, but I can never pronounce it right.
Dude, me too, man. I feel so bad when I like meet someone and I like mispronounce their name, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Or when they hit you with the like, "Who's that?" And you're like, "Oh fuck."
Just make me feel worse, you know.
You know, like, yeah, sorry. Now I'm gonna call you that the rest of the night. Like, yeah. So I'm gonna play "Drip" by Mo and Amy Chella, and just tell me was it up or down if it's too loud or needs to go down a bit, as I'm playing it off my my speakers on my laptop. Are we good? Drip like this. Drip. Y'all want to drip like this. Y'all want to drip like this. Drip, 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 drip. Y'all want to drip like this. Y'all want to drip like this. With a drip like drip. Y'all want to drip like y'all want to drip like drip. I like the back and forth shit they did. Word. Yo, bro. That beat was fucking dope. Like, I don't know, like, I've heard some of your other beats, and that felt like it was different from, like, your usual, like out of your comfort zone, maybe. I don't know if that's far-fetched, but...
I think, like, that beat's definitely a newer one. I think the other two that I sent you were, like, I don't know but if you're talking about those ones, but the other one, two ones are a little bit older, but also, like, that was such a weird beat to have made, because it was like I remember like Mo came over to my studio and we're like, oh, what should we work on, right? Like I don't know, do you have any beats? Not really. Or maybe I'll just make something on the spot, right? So I like made that beat in probably half an hour, and then Mo ended up like I sent it to him and he's just gonna write to it, and then literally a year later is when he hit me back and he's like, hey man, like I think me and Amy are gonna jump on that track. I was like, oh, dope. Like, you know, and it's crazy, like, to see how long, like, sometimes, like, some of these songs take to come out, you know? Like, I have songs that are just about to be coming out now that I've worked on 2 years ago. And then I looked at 2 years ago, I'm like, it ain't quite as good, you know, as what I can do now, but I'm still...
People, like, after they, like, kind of, like, just sit and, like kind of heat up on a beat for like a year or so, and then like you just see how like they turn that beat into like something you just didn't expect it to be. Because like when I hear that beat, I don't expect to hear like a Styles P and Jadakiss like back and forth, like in and out type flow thing, you know, and like they really complement each other on that track.
Yeah, man, 100%.
And
You know, and
the beat,
you know,
like Pete made it for like just a simple and dope, catchy hook. Like that should be getting radio spins out in fucking BC, bro. Like I don't understand like why not like in the college or university stations and shit. Like that shit's a banging track.
totally, man. And even like I've seen it live a couple times now too, and it just like brings
Yeah,
people to the stage. It blows. Like I was like, oh shit, like these guys are serious, you know.
and it, like bro, like you're giving them that canvas, so like once they use that canvas and they actually paint on it, bro. Like you know, like you gave them like this, like the starting kit, you know, and then from there they made that, bro. It's gotta be dope to feel when you hear it, especially when you hear it live. Because I don't feel like a lot of beat makers go to check their songs being performed live when they should, because I feel like that adds an extra layer of inspiration to you.
Oh, always, man. And I love going
And it
to the local
and
small
it
event.
makes your ear better for when you're mixing and producing, because you want to make sure that it sounds even great on like a full live production.
Yeah, man. I mean, like what things on a speaker system at like a live show, it's a different vibe, you know. Like I have some pretty decent speakers in the studio here, but like they're nothing compared to like some big like 30,000 watt sound systems, you know, that'll be like
You wouldn't be able to have neighbors.
sorry.
You wouldn't be able to have neighbors.
Yeah, oh exactly. And just that low end of the song definitely comes alive, right? So it's like if I did something wrong, then I better know at the live show, you know.
Yeah. So, just because that track got me hype, what track do you want to hear between Oasis and Been Here for Years?
Maybe been here for maybe Oasis. Start with that one because it's got a similar vibe, but it's definitely different for sure. Definitely on some new wave stuff.
I've,
Um,
I've heard the name Bobby Blaze, but I've never gotten into his catalog, so this is going to be like probably most likely a first for me. If not a first, I wouldn't remember what the first song that I did hear was. And that's not to hate on him or anything. It's just I tap in with so many people that like,
yeah,
and I smoke a lot of weed, so the memory thing is just not going to work out for
all
anybody.
good. He's like when it comes to like rappers and homies out here in Vancouver, he's one of my best friends, and he's so talented. Just when it comes to freestyling, like this Oasis song we made in probably an hour, and it's got bars, it's got like melody. It's very new age when it comes to like the sound of it. But he brings it every single time he's in the studio. We like make a beat, record it right here, and then move from there, right?
Right. All right. So this one's called Oasis by Bobby Blaze, also produced by KerbThaKid. Sorry, I forgot to mention earlier that song "Drip" by Mo Dirt and Amy Chella is produced by KerbThaKid, obviously. And otherwise, I don't know why I'd be playing it. Actually, that's a lie. I played music in the background before that wasn't part of like the actual artist, so I do that sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. Uh, so yeah, like I said, Oasis by Bobby Blaze, produced by KerbThaKid, who we happen to have on right now. If you're not following him, give him a follow. If you're not following me, hit me with a follow. But here we go. Yo, Kerb, you made this? What up, Ski? I like the hook.
Got this water like oasis, working no vacation, with the stars in constellations. Mama told me I'ma make it. Gotta juice, it's concentrated. When the fire goes enough, my body blazing. In the lobby and I'm smoking my Jamaican. Roll it up and kill the kids, no hesitation. Kissing the mother, I know that I've been right. Johnny pull up on me and I'm never listen to the midnight. Same shit tight. Johnny pull up on me and I'm never listen to the midnight. Kissing the mother, I know that I've been right. Johnny pull up on me and I'm never listen to the midnight. People all over the world have been saying shit tight. Johnny pull up on me and I'm never listen to the midnight. Never listen to the midnight.
Another one by the homie KerbThaKid. That was Bobby Blaze, Oasis. That has some nice melody to it for sure. I was getting some response in there, bro. You made someone memorize the lyrics right off the song. That's dope.
Yeah, man. And that's the goal with any song, you know.
And if you want some genuine, honest feedback from like anybody, Panda Ontario is that guy, bro.
No.
Yeah, since I've connected with him, I think I connected with him on the Jigs Krill's interview that I did. I think me and Krilly reconnected after like not talking for like 12 some years, and like out of nowhere, he caught wind of a comment I made about him on one of my interviews, and boom, full circle moment. Crazy, right?
And that's the thing about this music scene, you know, especially just in Canada. You know, we're big, but we're small at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows everybody, and you know, and it's once you know one person, you can know like so many other people, and we can all get together. You know what I mean?
It's like this. It used to be like the six degrees of separation or whatever, and that was before the internet. So like, I wonder what it is now. Like, it's got to be higher, right?
Totally.
Like, or less. Would it be higher or less?
I mean, it depends what group you're looking at, I guess.
Like the 6 degrees of separation is like everybody you know knows somebody or something, or
Yeah.
something or something. So like with the internet, it's like even like more like everybody you know knows like 6 people you know. Like, I don't know. It's probably a lot higher.
I can even look at like Facebook, right? Like, I'm friends with like some 1,300 people on Facebook, and I maybe talk to 5 of them daily. You know?
I try to interact with people as much as I can, but like the algorithm that makes like everybody like not show up, and then all of a sudden they show up. Like if you comment on one thing, all of a sudden they're showing up for weeks, and then if you don't like comment or like something, they're gone for like 6 months. They're in like the void of like unliked posts, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, it's
I hate
and you like being a creator.
It's so much simpler.
Yeah.
You know, like but now, what can you do?
Well,
So,
I think there's upsides and downsides of you know, at least social media.
Yeah.
The way that
a lot of people I don't want to see on my feed.
But it's just, there's so much more potential for reach. But at the same time, it's like I still think that face to face networking,
Oh,
you know, is still the best.
nothing beats going to an event and meeting like artists you like listen to, but now you finally get to actually meet and shit. Like, and it's just like random, spontaneous type shit. That shit you can't beat that, bro. That happened at the Cranium Festival in Ottawa that On the Line with the media for and shit. So like, I bumped into so many artists like that. I was lucky to like post performance interviews and shit like that. Still have to drop them, but I've just been taking my time working on them, trying to make them look dope and shit.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
worse than like doing cell phone filming like outside of venue after a performance, so people are yelling and like you can hardly hear the person you're interviewing, so you're like, fuck.
Yeah, unless you have like the right equipment or like a mic just to go on your shirt or something like that. It's sometimes.
Last minute, we got the passes, and then like I was there already with just my phone, so I was like, fuck. But you still do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You still make it happen. So I know we have probably like 12 minutes, I'm assuming, left because we started at like 9:35, right? Yeah, probably about 12 minutes. So I don't want to like get cut off and not have a proper ending. So I'm gonna play that one more track. It's from Crucifix and Young Stitch and DJ Stilo. Been here for years. Produced by KerbThaKid, the homie that's in our episode 128 tonight. And yeah, man, we'll definitely have you back on when you have stuff you want to talk about anytime, man. Because we only scratched the surface. There's so much more we could talk about. So you're always welcome on, bro. But,
Always, bro. And I'm in the studio every day. Hit me up whenever.
we should do like something where like we could put like drop a video or something on like the On the Line with page of you like making a beat or just something just for like content, just for the hell of it, and just put it on both our pages and just let people, or like how to make a beat, like educational video. That could be dope too. That's different.
Yeah, I got a lot of the content I do is similar to that. A lot of the content I do is like humor content, but
I'd be down to collaborate on something like that, just because that's the type of stuff I want to give artists and shit. I was telling you like all the one-stop shop, like that could be definitely something. If I could find someone down to help with that part, that'd be dope.
I agree, 100%.
Definitely, we'll talk about that after this. So again, this one's called "Been Here for Years." Crucifix, Young Stitch, my homie, me and him go way back. Both started rapping at the same time, and DJ Stilo, who's actually part of the VI Kings tour with Mr. ESQ and Details and everyone else. But Stilo's definitely in the mix with the Island Royalty and stuff like that. Hoodstock Entertainment, sorry.
He did the engineering on this track and just absolutely played it. But he also mixed the track, or did not mix the track, but did some cuts on the track as well.
He's a dope engineer, bro. He's an underrated engineer, actually. Very much so.
I always say that, man. Like,
bro, and his cuts are amazing too.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, bro. I've been listening to stuff for so long that I'm like, I know when things are different to me. Yeah. And when they're different to me, usually they're different to other people. And that's when I'm like, if they agree, then I know that we have similar ears. But here we go. East side to the west coast, Yeah, the cuts on this are good too. Is that Stilo?
Yeah.
I remember Crucifix from years ago too. So again, that one was Crucifix, Young Stitch, DJ Stilo, been here for years, produced by KerbThaKid, who's our guest for episode 128. Yeah, that beat's crazy, bro.
First time I heard those scratches and even like both of their verses, I was like, bro, come on.
Stitch is one of those rappers who doesn't really disappoint, and if he does, it's because like I can't even I wouldn't be able to explain why, because he's always, even since he started, like he's always put his like full force into whatever he's trying to do, and like sometimes he comes up with verses in like 15 minutes, sometimes he takes his time on them, and like either one is always usually a hit, and if it's not, then maybe he just wasn't feeling the track but wanted to be nice.
Yeah, crazy. And like I first started listening to him like 4 or 5 years ago. He was getting really big in the scene, and
you're late, son.
no, I was late, but like, but when I first heard it, I was like, dude, this guy's insane, you know, like just his like freestyles and like some of the battles I watched him do, I was like, holy shit, you know.
He's still Freestyle Friday's champion. He hasn't been dethroned yet. Like, they haven't had another competition, so he's still 2018 BET Freestyle Friday champion. He still has the crown and everything.
It's mean, man. Actually, we did another track, and Mo Dirt was on it with him, Crucifix, and Mo Dirt, Heavyweights. This was, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago now. It was quite a while back, but
hold on. I'm gonna try and get it really quick. Heavyweights?
Yeah.
We have enough time to play it really quick, so Heavyweights.
That might be my like magnum opus of favorite beats.
And why is it? Why is that?
I think the simplicity of it, and it just like the grungy boom bap drums that are on it. It just, I made it 5 minutes, and I was like, this is it. Sent it off to Crucifix, and he was like, "Nope, I'm getting some couple people on it." You know, like.
Give me 1 sec, I got it coming up right now. Just before I do play it, if it does cut off, everybody, this has been episode 128 of Car Chats. I'm your man Hanley from On the Line With. This is KerbThaKid. Corbin Parker on Facebook if you want to connect with him there. Instagram, hit him with a follow if you're not already following him. If you're not following me, give me a follow. And I just want to say thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate it, especially it being last minute, spontaneous. It was a great conversation, man. I enjoyed it. So I guess we'll just take him out with this, and if we have a second or two at the end of it, we'll just say peace out, and that's it.
I appreciate you having me on, especially last minute. You know, like I had some, and it's been a pleasure talking with you. You know. And
definitely feel free to come on, bro.
Before we talked, you know, and I see how much you put on other artists, and it's definitely a pleasure.
Definitely feel free to come back on anytime, bro.
Sure.
And yeah, we're gonna play that track now. It's called Heavyweights. It's Crucifix, Young Stitch, and Mo Dirt. It's 3 heavyweights, definitely for sure.
Crucifix, what up? Yeah.
I know this one.
Marching through an alley with a pitchfork, all up in their hands, fuck a wonder with these kids for. I've been trying to live low, y'all about to live less. No, I bring a best spirit anytime I invest. Money be the motto, we gon' see tomorrow. I be saving digits, trapping bitches in a bar, but I be in the Tahoe. Big whips, we gon' put a stamp on them. Grill got a face, should be looking like a transformer. The only color that I see is red. This a money shot, I'm coming for the people's heads. It's kinda like a movie, but you ain't gonna live to see the end. That's how the game goes. Superman in plain clothes. Rearrange your faces, it ain't safe for you to stay close. So lay low and get your payroll snatched. Even an angel that pull up can get his halo cracked. This young Stitch. These laws finna send a kid home. Spit raw even when I get known. Pissed off, I'ma let you click no. Take your bitch home every time they hit home. These laws finna send a kid home. Spit raw even when I get known. Pissed off,
Is Crucifix still active? I need to get him on the show.
Tell him after this.
Hold on, my bad. What was that?
I'll let him know after this.
Yeah, definitely. Let him know that I want him on the show, bro.
Put you in the trash if you wanna fuck with my guys. You can never fuck with the greatest with the endless of words. Now I'm growing up on the ladies to be feeling my words. Got me feeling the urge. Every lyric feeling absurd. Now I'm feeling disturbed with every single lyric you heard. And when the beat drops, you ain't ever touching the track. We on another level forever. You pumping them racks. You get your teeth knocked every time you're drunk and you yap. And now you know you're never as clever as one of us guys. I'm going over the top. You know when it drop. You know when I'm smoking the clothes. So you're foaming the cops. And whether you know it or not, we're rolling this spot. You best be open the geos and getting broken around. These bars finna send a kid home. Spit raw even when I get known. Pissed off, I'ma let you click no. Take your bitch home, every lyric let it hit home. These bars finna send a kid home. Spit raw even when I get known.
Yeah, that's a really hard beat, bro. I like those beats that you make like this are like I'm gonna have to look into some because I might need a couple.
Back after this.
One of the illest in my city, check the wordplay. Road dirt, yeah, I'm a motherfucking dirtbag. In the worst way you could possibly think. Get off of my dick, these bitches banging like Oliver Twist. Curse when it curse to be the worst of the worst. Still they wanna learn to rehearse on the words in his verse. Cause it's the illest shit you done heard in a minute. I spit toxic waste, this shit's turning acidic. Murder and pillage, I'm burning the village. Y'all some in the flesh, boy. All I do is spit flame, welcome to hell, boy. See you quick if you got something to say. Cause I just pulled a pin of a motherfucking grenade. It's all dirt.
Yes, sir. Video by Cliff by Klaus. The drip video was by Bumbleclap. Shout out Caleb Bumbleclap. He's dope with the videos, man. So is Clicks by Klaus, but I don't know. There's something about Bumbleclap's like videos and his animations. But we have a little plan that we have something coming out. We're gonna do an interview, but then we're gonna turn it into an animation of some sort.
Yeah, he's dope with the like the little animations that he does.
Yeah.
The video,
Yeah.
Funny, man.
Yeah, definitely.
What?
Yeah. I can't wait to see what we make, but yeah, I'm stoked for that. But yeah, again, bro, thanks for being episode 128 on Card Chats. Appreciate you coming on and taking the time. Again, KerbThaKid, I'm handling from On the Line with episode 128, sponsored by Diamonds Rising. I'm in the S social media album press T-shirt, and I got Jack Hellington's Sunny Side Up pending on, repping bunch of artists, repping my sponsor, you know what it is. So yeah, Kerb, I appreciate you coming on, bro, and we'll definitely have to have you on again soon because it's always, it seems like it'll always be a good conversation, bro.
Appreciate it.
All right, take care, brother. Peace.